Okay. So any is that clear about what's under your chairs? Did I miss anything? Yes. I missed one. Some of you have an extra something under your chairs. This is where we're going to do the audience participation part. So there is a mission statement under a chair.
What's that?
So some chairs have under them a laminated sheet. So if you have a laminated sheet, does it say mission statement on the top?
Yes, it does.
It does.
Yes.
Great.
So there you go.
Yes.
No, it says mission statement.
Okay.
I'm so sorry. Yes. So first, I'm going to rewind. Yes.
Yes.
I jumped right past that. So first we're going to, for those of you who come to meetings, and I think most of you have, you know that one of the things we do is we like to settle in before we start. And I sort of jumped right in without doing that. So now I'm going to step back and make that correction. So we're going to settle in and transition to here. And Mira's going to help us with that.
So if you're eating, I would love you to just put the food down. Make sure all your cell phones are off. As Ruth said, we begin every gathering and every meeting with a moment or two of quiet. So coming inside, I invite you to just close your eyes gently and invite a deeper breath. A breath that supports you in arriving here in this room. Bringing all your attention to right here, right now. And we ask that you open yourself to receive words that I'm going to speak and share. Words that ACPC has adopted as a vision because each word is perfection. And we feel aligned with each word, and we've claimed this as our vision. So as you breathe, imagine the world you would like to see come into being. Imagine a world where governments respect the human rights of all of their citizens and settle disputes by the rule of law for the common good, where all people have food, shelter, and access to medical care, and children are born into and raised by healthy families and healthy communities, where literacy and education for all are accomplished facts, where economic practices create well-being for all stakeholders, including communities and the environment, where beauty, the arts, and media inspire the best in people, where the benefits of science and technology enhance all circles of life, where tolerance and appreciation of diverse religious beliefs is the rule, spiritual practice is encouraged, and reverence for all life fostered, where the earth in all her natural beauty is treasured and its resources utilized sustainably for this and future generations. This is a world at peace. May peace prevail on earth. You are a pathway to peace.
is what we aspire toward. And someone had under their seat our mission statement.
Yes. I will read the mission statement followed by our precepts, our guidelines. They're numbered, like 1 to 13. I've got 1, so I'll say the number. And if you're in the inner circle, you might have a laminated sheet. And you know it's your turn after mine. You got to. 1. The mission of the Ashland Culture Peace Commission, a community-wide movement dedicated to transforming our attitudes, behaviors, and institutions into ones that foster harmonious relationships with each other and the natural world.
Brings heart and compassion to conversations, decision-making, and systems.
2, now 3.
Recognizes the inherent value of each person, the diversity within the community.
4, invites everyone's participation, relying on the natural gifts of each community member.
5, encourages mutual respect so that all residents and visitors feel safe, heard, and empowered.
6, establishes trust through holding all persons responsible for their actions.
7, employs compassionate listening to air feelings, viewpoints, and concerns.
8, discovers solutions through collaborative exploration.
9, emphasizes the universal values of kindness and generosity, love and beauty, caring and curiosity.
10, seeks larger truths and broader perspectives to better comprehend local and world affairs.
Number 11, the Ashland Culture of Peace values and nurtures all of life, honoring the environment and promoting humanity's balanced place in the web of existence.
12, builds upon the foundation of existing groups contributing to the wellness of the world.
13, creates an emerging, evolving, living model for thriving together as fellow humans.
So that was our mission statement and sort of our tenets under that. Yeah, that's what we're shooting for. So again, thank you for coming. Now in a more settled space. So if, with your permission, I'd like to do a little mingling, if that's okay. Just to kind of set the tone a little bit. So if everyone wouldn't mind standing up, if you are willing to, and put whatever's in your hands on your chair. And let's have people from the back row step into the front. So we're all kind of in the middle here. So everybody just come around or come through, whatever works for you.
Gather around our peace altar.
Gather around the peace altar. All right. So a little community building here. So what I'd like you to do is to partner up with one other person, someone who you know less well in the group. So go with somebody you don't really know, and just say hi and stand with them. So everybody wander and find somebody. Okay, good. Okay, good. Thank you very much. Thank you. Everyone.
Attention, everyone.
Everybody find somebody?
Yes.
Very nice. Very nice. So, in a moment, you're going to quick introduction, and then I'd like you each to take a turn answering the question. So we are trying to move toward a culture of peace in Ashland. The belief is if we can accomplish that in Ashland, then it can spread from there. And our hope is that other cities will see what happens in Ashland and come and say, how did you do that? And we can say, well, we did it like this. And then they'll go do it, and it'll start spreading. So one of the ways to do that is to identify the ways in which we are already a culture of peace. Because every community has both sides of the issue, right? So what you're going to do is you're going to have 3 minutes, I'll time it, and then I'll tell you when it's over, to take turns and just how do you see a culture of peace already existing in Ashland? And you say that for a bit, and then you say to your partner, what do you think? And then they'll say that. Okay? And if you run out of that, just keep talking, because this is about getting to know each other anyway. Okay? Okay. For the whole thing, yes. And I'll say, like, I'll tell you when to stop. Ready, go. Say
Well, I just sort of consider the term culture to be synonymous with city, state, country, or something like that. Just a group of people. So it's just a group of people pursuing peaceful as opposed to the culture of violence. Consider violence to any kind of a violation, not necessarily so group of people that are not hurting. I was going to put in a more positive sense, but I have a hard time because it just seems like having peace just really means eliminating all the thoughts and violence. I don't know, but I keep looking for the positive thing that you add to the situation. Whether it's already goes whether you're I think I did
Around here, what I see there seems to be
it's going to be something
there are opportunities here to take part the fact that all the city council meetings are and then on the web, website, all kinds of well, how did that happen?
Everybody looks like they're still talking about it. Do you use any of those inputs?
Well, that's a good question. I just have the archive created
and when you see other people raising their hand, you raise your hand. And then if you stop talking at the same time, it helps. Hey, girl. Thank you. We're back to the Boy Scouts. Appreciate it. So, in a moment, you're going to thank that person for chatting, and then you're going to go find a new partner. We're going to do this 2 more times. Someone you don't know, again, because we're trying to do the legal thing. Say hello to them, and then I'm going to tell you what to talk about. So right now it's like, say thank you, go find someone else, say hello, thank you, go find someone just like in the scout thing. Thank you very much. Very good. Anyone not have a partner? Sure. Oh, anyone else have a partner? Oh, okay. You're right. That's who doesn't have a partner?
Hi, I'm Bob.
No.
Bill.
Okay, there you go. Perfect. Yes, 3. Great. Did you say hi?
Did you meet your partner?
Okay, wait, did you say hello? So, this time, 3 more minutes ago, and this time, I'll give the 30-second warning, and when we're done, I'll raise my hand this time. That'll be a little more effective for how you can tell it's time. This time, so we did the, how does a culture piece already exist at Ashland? Now we're going to look at how could it be better? Where is it not present in Ashland? So we're doing the other side of the coin. Okay? So we identified how it's already there and the strengths we can build on. Now we're going to look at where are the areas of opportunity. Okay? And then the third one will kind of pull it all together. So you decide who goes first. You have 3 minutes back and forth.
3 minutes total.
We're going to do this one more time with a different topic. So you're going to, in a moment, you're going to say goodbye. You're going to go find a new person and say hello, and then I'll tell you what to talk about. But if you'll put your hand up like this, then you'll say goodbye, and then you're going to walk around like this until you find a partner, and then you put your hand down. Then, if you don't have a partner, you'll go, who else, right? Maybe that over that. Okay, ready? So say goodbye. Goodbye. Find somebody else. Somebody who comes out, and then hang around. Okay, great. Thank you very much. Everybody got a partner? Okay, good. Good. Thank you. Okay, last one, and then we'll grab some and crank out the agenda here. So, we talk about how it's impossible, we've seen, to create peace out here if peace doesn't exist in here, right? Otherwise, we're just projecting all of this out there and it cannot work. So, at all of our meetings, we focus on both, inside, outside. So this last conversation is along those lines. In what ways do you contribute to a culture of peace in Ashland? So personally, how does that show up for you? In an inner to outer kind of way. So it can be beliefs and values inside and how those get expressed, or you can do actions you do and maybe tie it to an inside thing, whatever. Okay? So 3 minutes, one of you go first. Go. Sorry to interrupt you. Thank you very much. So, keeping that hand up there, you're going to thank your partner, say goodbye, head to your chair, use your hand, do a couple high fives. All right, let's get back down and... more straight. Great, thank you very much. So while people are coming back from the break table, since a large percentage is back there, it's still a little time. And how was that for you?
Beautiful.
Yeah. What did you like about it?
Getting to know people.
Getting to know people, sure.
The questions were wonderful.
Yes.
Oh, good.
It really allowed me to learn about who I am.
Oh, nice.
And a kind of depth that really refreshing.
Oh, lovely.
It helped me to hear how my own answers keep changing.
Dynamic.
I like the closeness of bumping into each other.
Yes. Just that. One of the things I'm finding as I spend more time with the Culture Peace Commission is that it takes very little to have connection and great conversations, because I think we all are in a place where we want that. It just seemed like in the old days when we would do trainings, we used to have to just put so much work into getting people to connect, and so much work to open people up. And these days it just seems like it's all right there. And just saying, talk to each other. And as soon as people do that, there's this connection that happens that is really deep. I find that just fascinating. Well, okay, we are in our little house.
Especially if it's all over.
Yeah, we're good. Okay, well, thank you. And just a small comment on the physical closeness, as you were saying. Yes, I find that if we could, one of my pet projects, which I'm rather upfront about, is at the end of our meetings at the Culture Peace Commission, we stand and hold hands for a second. And I say to people, now, this is not what we normally do in our culture, and here's why we're doing it, in my opinion. Because just holding hands, which is a fairly benign act, like not very threatening, lets us make physical contact, like just that. And now we have a different way of speaking and being with each other. Just that.
Don't go.
So it's really that easy. And a culture of peace really isn't brain surgery. This is what we're finding. It's just encouraging people to connect, encouraging people to talk, and then what's already there that wants to come out comes out. So anyway, and now for a little history. I bring to you our executive director, David. Let's give it Oh, yes, that's mine. I'll give it. Did I plug the speaker thing back in the right port? There were two of them. I was a little concerned about that. Okay, good.
Well, good afternoon, and how wonderful that we're all here and coming together. And there's a lot of different purposes for being together this afternoon, and part of it's just a refresh. And hanging out together, do something enjoyable and upbeat. Many of us involved with the Culture Peace Commission, we do a lot of meetings. We do it and talk, and it's very productive and real purpose for that. But it's nice to get together and do this kind of thing. Thank you, Rich, get energy.
Sure.
Good job.
And what we're doing here is something that I think is a recognition, is a longing in many people's hearts. The state of the world and what's going on here, just wait a minute, just stop it. You know, just enough. But how do we do that in the community? How do we take steps in the community? And that's, we're using the terminology, a culture of peace. Talk about well-being, the community of well-being, a community of caring. There's a lot of different words we can use, but we're using the terminology of culture of peace. And this is a local, global initiative, really. It's local, global. We come from, kind of like from the mothership, I use that term, the mothership of Pathways to Peace. Pathways to Peace that I've been involved with since 1980 for many, many years, helped to establish the International Day of Peace with the United Nations. This has been a UN NGO since 1980. Helped to establish the International Day of Peace at the UN starting in 81. Long history of international work. It really helped spawn the focus, even the languaging, the peace building. And part of that was also the terminology culture of peace in the early 80s. That also became more engaged with, at the United Nations, the terminology of a culture of peace. And a lot of work has been done around that. In 1999, there's a resolution, a unanimous resolution, on a program of action for culture of peace. The declaration and program of action for culture of peace. And they came up with 8 different action areas that were then taken out to around the world and saying all countries, all nations, but all cities and all communities to engage with that. So coming here, I came here in 2003 for love, and I'm still here, and I'm still in love. And bringing the idea of the International Day of Peace, which has been going on for a long time, September 21. And part of that, we had some wonderful International Day of Peace events here in 2012, 13, 14, and a number of us team got together. Patricia was one of the key people in there. Was to focus on, well, the day is wonderful, it comes and goes, but how do we, let's really bring in and embrace the idea of a culture of peace. And the idea was to step forward to work with the city and to create a commission, a culture of peace commission, as a part of the city like other commissions. So it really up-levels and the whole idea of peace building. So it really has a place in the city, and it really has a role, and it really has some impact and some influence. We worked with John Stromberg and the City Council, coming to a place where it really wasn't appropriate to be a city entity, but being a citizens commission. So it really is a commission, and it was supported to be a commission that really has standing, that really has some substance to it, but it's a citizens commission. That's what we're doing. So it's also, when we started, it was not bringing the work that was done at the UN and saying let's go do that. It's really just, we were here saying, is a culture of peace. What does that mean here? What does that mean now? In Ashland, not what it means in New York. So that's where we started, and that's where so many of us come together. But Bob was guiding the values that was read, and that's all been generated here, really from our hearts and spirits as to what does this really look like. So it's been refined and refined, but it's still wide open. It's still wide, new territory. So I just want to show you a couple things. 50. So this is what we talked about, that our mission statement, basically, a community-wide movement dedicated to transforming our attitudes, behaviors, and institutions into ones that foster harmonious relationships with each other and the natural world. It's about relationships. It always is. There's also the relationship inside and with ourselves. That's where it begins, and with each other. These are engagements that we have. I won't go into a lot of detail with it, but these are the international engagements, partners that we are part of. And that, again, this is local global. So what we're doing here, many people at the UN, the Global Movement for Culture Peace, are very aware that we are doing that and really are looking to us as a model, because we're seeing it as really doing something quite unique and sophisticated. This is from Pathways to Peace. It's the entity that we started with, this image that helped organize us, that worked with all sectors of our community, our pathways to peace, our culture of peace. Again, the key is we're not trying to create peace. We're creating a culture of peace. If you think about that, that's really substantive. That's really huge. Because the culture is everything that we experience, everything that we do. So it's like being conscious of that. We're on the verge of, we've been instrumental in inspiring the City Council and the City of Ashland to join the International Cities of Peace. And I just got word today that the proclamation has been written, and March 16 will be read and approved at the City Council. So everyone show up March 16 at the City Council. That's all right today. That's right. Thank you. Yeah, May 16th. Also, it's coming up next year, we're on track with this, bringing here to Ashland the World Peace Flame Monument. And this is something that was, quote, an accident that I discovered in Wales. There's a long story around that, and it's on track to be brought here. A replica of the World Peace Flame Monument be brought here. So it's a very significant thing. It's the only one in North America. And it's going to be quite significant for Ashland. So we're on track with that.
David, where will it be?
Where will it be located?
Yeah, where will it be located?
Don't know yet.
Okay.
Don't know.
Thank you.
Yeah. To be discovered.
Will you say a little bit more about the monument? What is it? Who made it? Where is it?
It is in Wales. It's in Snowdonia, Wales.
And who made it?
So that was established by the royalty of Wales, and 5 flames from 5 different continents, including the Gandhi flame in India, were brought together in, I think it was 99, to create that World Peace Flame Monument. So it stands as a monument to peace in all people and throughout the world. So we're going to have that replica here in Ashland. We got the permission to do that from the World Peace Flame Foundation, and they will have a representative fly out here to be part of that. More to come on that one. International Day of Peace, we're part of that entity. The International Day of Peace of September 21 is coming up. Again, we're engaged with many of these types of things. So we'll stop this. So we're doing a lot. I just want to show you a fun way to get a reflection back on our journey and what we've done. So just take a moment and maybe just relax while I go through my.
You say organize your desktop.
All those things.
More the same.
Oh, come on.
A lot going on. A lot going on.
I don't see my name there.
Ready?
Yes, ready.
Then we thank Bob for this. In Prezi, we didn't know about.
So for those of you who've done PowerPoint, this is the next thing past PowerPoint.
Actually, it's Rich's fault. You're the one who brought it.
So PowerPoint is so last decade. Prezi is the new thing, and you'll see why. It's PowerPoint animated.
Here we go. Ready? Alright, here we go.
Let's have
Make it full screen.
So you're going to see a visual summary of what we've done for the last year and a half. This is circling on the square. Which looks like.
What's the wee dinner?
It's the Friday night free dinner provided to people who can.
Community meal.
Community meal.
gave us permission to use the music.
Awesome.
Who did the presentation? Rich?
The presentation was put together by a 15-year-old girl that would like to very much be part of the culture piece. She's out of town right now. They're the meters.
Wonderful.
Good job.
Yes, we're in good hands. Our future's in good hands.
So, do you have a list of all those activities anywhere that we can just read off? I mean, I could just randomly go. So what you saw there was that. We have a bi-monthly article in the Ashland Tidings that we do. We have talking circles every Tuesday in the office. We have community meetings every Wednesday. We have meditation every Wednesday night. Last year we did 11 Days for Peace. We did 11 vigils on the plaza from 9/11 to 9/21, 9/21 being the International Day of Peace. So we tried to raise the issue of our warlike culture, and we had local groups talk about it. So we did sex trafficking and gun violence and issues of that sort. And then local agencies who deal with those things came and talked about it, and we did moments of silence just in awareness of that. And then the following morning, we have discussions in our office of qualities of peace. So we would get together and talk intentionally about what are the qualities of peace to sort of balance out that. So we're going to do that every year, kind of as an awareness raising of the culture we're in and whatnot. And the list is just goes on and on of things we've accomplished. So that's,
And then when we think about the future, where we're going, that's one thing we talked about. You know, look out to 2020 with the Culture Peace Commission. Again, this is local, global, and we're going to be engaging a lot more locally with different sectors and different forums, and engaging in the community, bringing people together around issues, particular issues that are difficult. Engaging more with young people, a whole lot more. It's real important because we plant the seeds that they're going to move forward with. Just like with Nicole, who did the Prezi, you know, just bright, sharp, but taking it, from us. And Saturday, you all are invited also to our event on Saturday, which is the GEOS facility, 4 to 6 p.m. And our key speaker is Kate Josh Bradley. She's a 18-year-old co-president of the student body at Ashland High School, talking about the culture of peace and the future and what she sees. And so it's really, planting the seed and for the younger generation to carry forward. But I see, part of what we're doing is establishing this and also opening up the opportunity to other cities to what we're doing. I foresee in 2020, engaging with 5 different cities around the country, 2 or 3 more cities internationally, and working together on culture of peace. Many, many things.
and part of the idea of why it's a commission is, as David was saying earlier, it's to raise the legitimacy of peace building activities and to normalize it, to get it into the mainstream. So it's not just the peace people over here doing those peace things. So our commission has people in positions that are very prominent in our community. So the chief of police and editor of the paper and retired judge and people like that who have status, typical status, to try and raise that awareness of this is actually something that is a mainstream thing. And the idea being that if we can make it work here, that becomes a template for other cities to use. So other cities say, how'd you do that? It's like, okay, well first you put together a commission, and then you go talk to the mayor and the city council, and you get them to buy in and go through what we've been through. And the goal being, by 2020, to have this be in other cities. And to start the ball rolling. And to have it be seen as, so when people say, I am a peace builder, it's like saying, I work in the legal system, or I am a brain surgeon, or I am a teacher at the college. It's the same thing. And people go, oh, well, of course you are. So I know what that is, and that's a good thing. No, yeah, exactly. So that's kind of the vision that we're moving toward. And we're doing a whole lot of learning in the process, this being amongst them. So do you want to talk more about the 2020 vision, or go into activities that we're going to do this year? Want to pull in?
Yeah, I did this year.
This year? Okay, great. Bob, you're kind of our operations guy. Do you want to talk about?
Sure.
What we're doing?
Somebody's back.
Okay.
Turn down the air conditioning or off, it's cold.
Oh,
Sure.
let's open all the, let's take off this wall of that real hot air conditioning.
Yes. Thanks.
Are there any regulated? Oh, kitty's. Oh, you kidding? Oh, there's just only one. Turn it off for now. It's hard to regulate. It's freezing up here.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So,
What is this for?
So again, we just to pull this into this moment here. So the further out vision are things like the Peace Monument Flame here in Ashland, to have us be recognized as a city of peace nationally. So people would come here to see the Peace Flame and also to experience what a culture of peace is like in a town when it's operational. So that's kind of a far out vision, and to become part of which we're becoming part of the International Cities of Peace. 161 cities around the globe, so that hooks us into that network. And we start talking about what are they doing, what can we do, so that pulls it together as well.
And it also doesn't mean that we are that. It means we want to become that.
Yes.
We move towards that. We've got a lot of work to do. We've got stuff, we've got issues, we've got, as every place does, but it's move with the intention, and there's the vision, and that's what we move toward.
Inspired.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. And one of the challenges has been that we are approaching this as with a question. What does a culture of peace mean to you? Because we recognize that it has to be a co-creation. That's why we're not we're not the Commission of Peace. We're not walking out saying this is what peace is. Do you agree with it? Yeah. So we're not trying to get people to buy into anything. We're trying to engage in a conversation. What would a culture of peace be to you? We have to co-create this. We don't know what it is. But what would it look like? And culture implies as well that it's the container. So it's not, peace. Well, this can't be a culture of peace. I see conflict. Right. Because that's part of life. And a culture of peace includes conflict. It includes disagreement. It includes all that stuff. It's how we hold it that makes the difference. How do we move through these things as a community? How do we move through conflict? How do we move through violence? How do we move through these things that occur in human society differently than we have before? How do we do it in a way that builds our community and builds an awareness of peace? Not approaching it as though everything has to be happy and no conflict. That's not very realistic. So that's the culture of peace. And it also is what makes it a bit of a challenge because we don't have a prescription. It would be a lot easier to say, this is our prescription, but we don't have it. So engagement is kind of our path forward. So Bob's going to talk about ways that we're engaging with the community this year that you might be interested in joining us in. And we'll go from there. So
I think that we lead with curiosity, because curiosity is the essence underneath the question. Anything else is something that I really already know and I'm just asking for your confirmation. So that's why we're always leading with questions, and that's why we did questions earlier today. I think that the basis gathering that we have is our Wednesday community group. It's where most of us at first come into the culture of peace. It happens every Wednesday at 4. And it's a place to, I think, get a feeling for what I call culture of peace moments. In fact, we used to end it by taking 10 minutes to list what were the culture of peace moments. What were those moments? Kind of like the moment when, it wasn't in a Wednesday thing, but when you were doing a compassion listening training, Carol, we launched a project called Shelter Listening to be able to go into the shelters and be listeners, not necessarily hosts or Ben and I, but just listeners. And you had us break into pairs, and we went to different parts of the room. When we came back together, what I noticed was everyone was softer, that everyone somehow had been touched heart by heart with each other. And I felt we were having a culture of peace moment. It happened here, the difference between where we were when we first circled, and then when you took us into ourselves, and then later when we kind of connected pair by pair by pair, culture of peace moments. that's what I see happening at the Wednesday community gathering. You mentioned 11 Days for Peace. So the Ashland Culture Peace Commission launched itself on International Day of Peace, the 21st of September on 2015. Going into 2016, we learned that in 2001, on 9/11, someone realized something that they called in Albuquerque 11 Days for Peace. And we borrowed that. From 9/11 to September 21st is 11 days. And another bright star, a young person in our midst, realized that we really can't celebrate peace or a year working towards peace without really releasing by moving through the obstacles to peace. So some people actually joined us by first coming to the vigils. So 11 nights were 11 nights of strife, balanced by talking circles in the office. And the talking circles were based on 11 different values or precepts underlying peace. The Tuesday talking circle that we do now, that those of us involved with that feel a real connection to each other and a connection to the growth that's happening. It's open to all people. It's always the same people and it's always new people, and isn't that wonderful? And somehow we're always between 8-ish and 12-ish or 14-ish people. We always make it around that table. And the topics, as you saw, the two here, Nicole, you find great pictures for us. After the election, we did a month of fear and then a month of anxiety. And then came February and we did our agape love. And beyond that, we moved into listening. Beyond that, we moved to sanctuary. And now it's May. So there's a theme for the month and a query for the week. And we start out with the personal at the beginning of the month and move towards the more general, the more universal. And we're now in the month of vulnerability. So if you've been alive in a body this week, anywhere, I feel like you might understand what vulnerability feels like. It seems to be in the air right now. Yeah. There's someone that's not with us today that really felt that there needed to be a quiet place to go inward. She's actually someone that lives here on a green card and has been here for 30 years and still felt in the last half year or so that she felt less safe and asked for a quiet inward experience, and that's how the Inner Peace Meditation Circle began. So that's at 6 o'clock every Wednesday, and all of these are open to everybody. So what are our 3 projects? We said that this is the year of outreach, is the year of education. So this was our outreach project last year, primarily. It's a circle of chairs, 8 chairs usually. And it started by going downtown thinking we were going to table downtown and realized we never look back at the table and we really don't have anything to give. We have a lot to give. We don't have paper to give. We have ourselves to give. We are our best tools. So we have a circle of chairs. The square is Chautauqua Square, which is in front of the Black Swan. So we actually have a partnership with OSF to use that place. Welcome you. Well, welcome back again this year. We're there from 11 to 1 on Thursdays and Saturdays. It's a place that theater goers walk by, business people come by on their lunches, students walk by, visitors walk by, homeless people hang out. What other groups are there? We're all there. It's the center of town. It's a different center than the plaza. And it's probably the easiest and hardest thing we all do as humans, is we just go there with these questions. And people walk by, and I have a sense that no one misses the sign, and no one misses the questions. And we're there just to be, we listen to understand. Oftentimes we say we do something even more profound than that, is we hold space. And as you've heard already, because just that moment of your speaking with me and my listening, that this is a rapport, this is a relationship, and that's the basis of peace. Where the idea wouldn't this be a good time to pass around a little basket that has some buttons that say peace ambassador? Sure. Okay, looks like Corby's got it, and she's Elizabeth, thank you. So the notion of being a peace ambassador, everyone's welcome to take a peace ambassador button.
You've got buttons now.
The idea of being peace ambassadors came from Pam Marsh. We began right at the end of the summer of 2015. It was the summer, does anyone remember the summer of 2015? That there was some strife, and a sense of strife between downtown businesses and street people. So Pam had spoken to us about ways that maybe we could hold some space, and this is what we did last year, and we'll do it again. But an idea we borrowed from other places is also of having a peace ambassador presence in our community, like wearing our shirts and being peace ambassadors. And in a way, it's like where this is silently sitting and engaging as people come, this is much more of an active engagement. This would be a place of handing out our vision statement, which whether that would have some information about our values. It would be having a list of resources that we could share with people that walk by the plaza or downtown. It'd be resources that we could share in businesses. It's a place that we could ask those questions like we asked each other today. And it's a place where we, just by having their presence, that there are times that those conflicts come up and they're not really big and they don't really require police intervention, but really would help with just having somewhere that just seems like they're ready to hold space. But it seems that without that, the police often get involved and it becomes really messy. Not because our police are messy, but because it gets a little bit too far before it gets listened to. The third engagement is, the third project is community engagement. And a community engagement would be that we would gather. We would gather like in a community gathering. And maybe we would give a park. And maybe we would do food. And maybe we would move more. And we'd be able to tell stories and hear diverse perspectives. And allow a conscious dialogue to emerge that would help us create some awareness of each other and our different perspectives. But not like where we're sitting in a circle and hearing one person. This is really where we're trying to hear like a melting pot of all that we are in Ashland to kind of break down some of the disparity and really celebrate our diversity.
So these are ways that you could be involved if you want to. And so that brings us to one of the sheets that was below your chair, which is Together Activating Culture Peace. It's a checklist thing. So we are trying to grow our movement. We're always trying to include people in whatever ways that you feel moved to be included. Given that we are completely volunteer at this point, we're always trying to find ways to do activities without burning up the same 6 people. So this is a sheet that we're going to ask if you would to, at the very least, we'd like to continue to build our database of names. So if you could, even if we've asked you before, which I apologize, because we're still getting our act together systemically. So you may have given your name and email before, but please just do it one more time, and I promise this will be the last time that you've done it before. We are actually going to kind of try and get it together this time.
This is your chance to write it real slowly and carefully. Because if you happen to receive an email, it could be that someone that doesn't really handwriting very well couldn't exactly get it in the database.
So if you would just take a moment, your name, phone, and email. A long moment. And I'll just continue to chitter chat as you fill this out. And the checklist below that are just anything that applies to you that you might be willing to bring forward to your engagement with the culture of peace. So I'll just read the paragraph while you go. Oh, you have a question?
Maintain international peace connections. Did you say something about that?
Maybe read down to all of those.
Okay, great. And David will be ready to answer all of your questions. So there is create, manage databases and spreadsheets. So that's a self-explanatory thing. If you're willing to and like to write newspaper articles, newsletter, website content, or reports, maybe you're really good at that. We have all of those activities underway. Managing and helping with the website. Maybe you're really good with media, so helping us connect with social media, print media, news media. Just sort of wing it. Correct me if I'm wrong. Techie IT skills.
The person I wrote this didn't know what they were saying.
Okay. That's why that's a long line.
This is really needed.
Yes. Yeah, you can tell by the length of the line. Yeah, videos, organizing volunteers. If you like to brainstorm, design, plan, if your brain just goes in that direction and you are really good at that, we would love to have you bring that to our effort. Managing outreach projects, writing grants, or organizing fundraising. Very large, looming large on our minds these days. Training others in nonviolent communication skills, or just communication skills, or just listening skills, or anything like that. Because as Bob said, we think the foundation of a culture of peace is listening to understand. Bottom line. As in, and what that means is, I can have my opinion, but I can also entertain yours, even if it differs from mine. I know how to hold my opinion over here and listen to yours and say, tell me more, I'm curious, even though I may not agree with it. That's kind of so if that resonates with you at all, that's what we're talking about. Helping with orchestrating internal communications, like calendars, stuff like that. Maintaining international peace connections. Dave.
So that really is, if you're interested in engaging in the international view in connection with that, the work that we're doing with people in the UN, with the International Citizens of Peace, with a number of just people who roll up their sleeve and really hold that area and really are part of that and really connected in that. And we'll see what that means, but that's it.
So it would be reaching out through the network that already exists through you.
Yeah, the one that's exactly right.
So Pathways to Peace, the UN, talking to other countries that are international cities of peace, and interacting with those folks and trying to
help make that connection,
right.
And we can decide what to do with it.
Right, yeah. So if that piques your interest, that's what that would be. Posters, presentation signs, other please specify, long line. Yes, and regardless of how we're involved, we're all peace ambassadors, and to the button.
Yes.
We hope to have everyone in town wearing buttons. Well, either literally or figuratively, as soon as possible. So the three at the bottom are what Bob talked about earlier. And here's just, I'm going to read you a little something so that you know which one to check. If you are a person who likes to sit and listen and can hear diverse perspectives without getting personally involved, like you're actually able to hold theirs, then you might want to do circling on the square. That's just what Bob said. You would just sit in chairs on the square for a couple hours, twice a week, or whenever, and just engage people in conversation. When they come by and say, what are you doing? You say, well, we're sitting here listening. Or wondering, what's a culture piece mean to you? So if that really, seated, not walking around, just engaging with people, if that interests you or calls to you, you might want to do that. If you like to, on the other hand, wander around and sort of greet people, inform, build rapport, and engage with people that way, we're going to have plaza presence, it's called. We're going to pick a couple times on a regular basis every week where we just, for a period of time, hang out down in the plaza and just talk with folks. And that's a little more going out to them as opposed to waiting for them to come to you.
Or maybe other parts of town too.
Or any other person.
Yes.
Yes.
Positive presence.
Which is really good. Yes. I can sense your involvement already. Nice. And then the third project is community engagement. So trying to build bridges. So if that calls to you, if you're somebody who naturally is good at saying, oh, hey, so-and-so, meet so-and-so. Hey, you guys, yeah, you really want to talk. Here, let me just sit down with you all and let's have a conversation because I think you would really benefit from hearing each other's perspectives. Then you might want to check that. So check 1 or 2 or 3, whatever may apply to you in that regard. And then if you would pass all your sheets that way, then Elizabeth will come and grab it. Thank you. All right. Why, yes, it is Jack. Yes. And as always, with a Hubs just asked a nice question. If I had a spare that you could take home to somebody, please ask us for spares if you feel so inclined to help other people you may know who want to get involved, who have time to do this, and who would be interested in helping with the culture piece. Please be a peace ambassador and spread the word and facilitate people getting engaged in whatever way works for them. Okay, that'd be great. So, yes, okay. So, Jack, you're about ready?
Sure.
Okay, good. So we are just warning you. I'm going to talk for 15 more seconds, but during that time, you get to just notice you coming up here.
I'm coming up there.
Yeah, you can. Oh, great. So in the last part here, we're going to talk about what's been happening for us financially and how we're going to, in a nice, respectful way, ask you to share your financial resources with us should you be someone in some form or fashion. But Jack is going to put a context on that so that we can know what that is.
Right.
All right. Wait, I did this for David. Okay, everybody. So let's hear it for Jack. It's just easier to walk out.
Well, sorry I'm late. My daughter was in the track meet over at AMS, and so that was the only thing that keeps me awake. So it's good to see so many familiar faces and new faces. Welcome. And well, as you've seen, we've done some amazing things, and we have some amazing people, and we have some amazing music. Seriously, she's a musician. Wonderful. And we've had a lot of fun in the past year and a half or so. This has been a real blessing for me in my life because I was struggling with some issues, and all of a sudden I met David, and he told me about this thing that he was starting, and I was struck by it in many ways, fascinated. It just always intrigues me to hear, the way these guys describe it. But it's about listening and just being and sharing our existence, our coexistence together. And what could be more beautiful and powerful? So I'm just delighted to be part of this thing, and I'm also a CPA, father of 3, business owner, and so I come from a kind of a different, maybe, location than you might think about peace ambassador, but I think, like you said, we're all peace ambassadors we can be. And so that's really exciting to me. And you don't have to quit your job either. As you can join. It's been great. So as any organization will attest, there are certain fiscal realities when you have an organization, especially a fledgling organization. There is an enormous amount of potential and promise, and I think it's exciting to think that we can all play a role in fulfilling that and help take it to the next steps. So there is a fiscal reality. We have a wonderful space on the corner across from the post office, as many of you have probably visited or known. And that's not cheap, that's not free. We get a pretty good deal, quite honestly, but that's fixed costs. And we have some amazing people who have donated enormous amounts of time.
So I would just sort of say, the last year and a half, we calculated it out, it was 20,000 volunteer hours that we've all done.
I think he put in half of them.
Yeah, easily.
So if we can get to the point where we're a flourishing organization, hopefully that'll also mean that we're generating some income, and that can help pay our executive director and some other people who devote so many hours, which is the norm, right, for a nonprofit. What's the better term for saying nonprofit?
Fledgling.
Struggling. We want a profit.
Not
but
for profit.
Not,
So
not,
that's not the motivation.
it's something positive, because we want to be successful, and what's the matter with making a profit, right? We're not paying taxes because we're we're tax exempt.
A profitable piece.
A profitable piece of production. Right.
Benevolent organization.
So at this point, so let me just back up a little bit. So last year, we formed our official 501c3 designation. We generated about $29,000 of income, thanks to large part to some larger donations, and that was before we had some of the people that were aware of us. So that helped kind of get us off the ground. The Daily Tiger articles were tremendous. We've got so many different avenues of reaching people, and yet we still have financial challenges. So we're hoping that people will kind of think of this as part of the culture piece, that they will contribute however they can. If it's financially, great. If it's time, great. And one way that I find very easy is to just have an automatic setup coming out of my bank account every month, because it's just simple and it just engages me more, right? It's just like a membership or whatever. It's just like I'm making a testament to my belief in this organization. I might be dormant for a while, but then I'll be back, and I want to support it no matter what, though, because I believe so strongly in it. Come hell or high water, this is what I totally believe in and want to be part of. So I feel like I should dedicate some resources to it. And so this year, we're off to a bit of a slow start in the financial department. I think we've generated about 2,000 in donations and about 10,000 in secured grants. $10,000 for 4 months times 3 quarters is $30,000. However, our budget's $120, so we're a bit short on the projections for our budget. Oh, okay. Oh, great. Oh, we're over 10,000. Great. So, but we established a budget, and it's to balance the budget, which is a challenge, as you all know, for our federal government. It's kind of a joke, sorry. Yeah. We can do better than that. So 121, so that's about, what, 10,000 a month, right? So that's a lofty goal, but it's also something we wanted to go for, because we feel like there's so many amazing things we're doing, okay? That are going to make an impact on us and far beyond. Saturday night's a very exciting event. There's some amazing speakers there and people there, and there's a great opportunity to bring in younger people, like you said, to bridge the gap to the next generations. Elizabeth sent out an email that was beautiful. Are you here? About the Hafiz poem, about what am I planting for the next generation, something along those lines. What mark am I leaving?
Leave something in the marketplace for us before you leave this world, is the final sentence.
Yeah, right. And that's powerful and beautiful. And so, any questions? I feel like I've rambled a bit, and I want to make sure that anything financial related, we're happy to show you more details if you ever want to see where the money goes or how much is coming in and so forth and so on. We just finished up our first tax return, so I did that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Actually, truthfully, my wife probably did most of it. My name's on the bottom, and I sign and review them and stuff like that. So, your team.
But that's a good point, because we do have the documentation, the profit, P&L, profit loss, and the balance sheet, and all that. So it shows where everything goes.
Is that online? Or how do you
No,
access that?
We have it at the office.
Oh, I see.
The tax return will be online once it's registered, because you can look at any nonprofit and see what the tax return is.
How much of your budget is generated from grants?
Well, this year we're seeking about, is it 40,000 in grants, or is it 20,000 in grants, I think? Is it?
We had the goal of 20,000, we received 3,000, these are what they're project focused. But 3,000 from the Carpenter Foundation for helping in next fall volunteer shelters. I mean, volunteers in the shelters to keep the shelters open. So you know, and then also 5,000 from the city to do strategic planning for the World Peace Lane Monument and a global conference, the Global Peace Conference, which will be September 21 of 2018. So that's to move that forward. So, but it is not rent money.
Right.
Yeah.
I had to step off the funding panel due to lots of work that I'm doing. So is there a strategic plan to get from 10,000 to 121,000 that's available to see?
Hosting this meeting.
Yeah.
No, it's a step-by-step process. It's not exactly, I think what you're asking is, have we identified the sources of this revenue? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, right.
Well, we do have budgeted subtitle amounts, which is on our budget. So this much we're trying to get from grants. This much we're trying to get from donations of individuals. I think that's 40,000. Okay. So we have it broken out in that fashion. If you want to see that.
Yeah.
And it's kind of shooting in the dark a bit because you kind of, how do you know? Maybe, you know, if we hit it big, we can double this. If we hit the right vein, right? That billionaire who, yes, I'm gonna die with all this money here. Take it. This is much better than what I'm gonna do. Whatever might happen, you know, and we'll find a beautiful way to use it, right? So, but we can't. You know, we're just trying to take stepping stones rather than just overshoot or underperform. You know, if we generate 60,000 this year, that would be double last year, so that would be in a way very successful, right? If the company doubled their revenue. But we think we could hopefully do that. We'll see. Thank you, everybody. Yeah.
So this is, again, I point back to, we've been actively doing things for about, I'd say, a year and a half technically. So it was 2015, International Day of Peace is when we had our big blockers who and how we are. I'd say though, for the last, it's been about a year, really, because we started about this time last year with the circling on the square and whatnot, and then we had the Olympic Days of Peace, and we got, so for that period of time, we've done a lot of stuff, and struggled to pull together a structure that will support all of our activities. We're still passing the hat. That's how we keep paying rent at this point. And so for the last few months, a lot of effort, David and other people have been, Patricia have been really trying to get grants and funding, because that's the next step you do as an organization at this stage to try and sustain yourselves. So this is us trying to do that. And part of that is this is the donation part. That's the one arm of the thing. So to whatever degree you're comfortable giving us money as well as time and energy, that would be great. So under your chair was also a pledge card. So if you would take a look at that and see what you might be willing to contribute or commit to. I don't know how to do this, but there it is. Jack, you mentioned I wish we had an automatic setup available here, but if you want to do that, you have to talk to us to either get the...
Yeah, I also saw in your email it had that option.
Yeah,
A recent email.
You do it through your bank. You
Yeah.
like paying bills through your bank. You just have it. Elizabeth, you do that.
Could I speak a little bit?
Please,
Yeah,
please, we should.
I'm a very practical person.
Yeah, yes,
I am very practical. All my life, I have wanted my life to make a difference. From the time I can remember when I was very young, now I'm pretty old, and I've always wanted to make a difference. And I have hung out with people of the same kind who want to make a difference. They're pretty cool. And some of them are here, many of them are not. What I know is if something is worth doing, it's worth doing. It is my understanding and my accumulated wisdom that peace is absolutely essential. If we're going to survive on this world and on this planet, we need to address peace in our time and all the times to come. You can't always do it on a thread. Faith is a big issue, yes it is. And practical, honest-to-goodness approaches are also essential. I was sitting here thinking about my life as this meeting has gone on. First, I was a nurse. I happened to work at St. Joseph Hospital and live in Memphis, Tennessee when Martin Luther King Jr. was killed. That was my town. That was my hospital that he went to. And I lived in that town before his murder and after, and I experienced the stress from all different points of view. So I carry that. My family is kind of conservative in terms of political leanings, and I'm kind of liberal in terms of political leanings. But we all want to survive. We all want to survive. If this thing is worth doing, it's worth committing to. Whether you commit $5 or $10 or $10 million or whatever. For this organization to have the biggest input, it has to be supported. And not by one person, but by a lot of people. I really urge you to take it seriously. Peace is a really serious business. Why is that funny?
It just sounds a little odd, but it's true.
Well, that's because business is often looked at with a little bit of dirty business. I owned a school for riverboat personnel for 25 years. I worked with big business, and yeah, it was a bit disturbing, some of their attitudes. But you know, they're people just like us, and they want to live just like we do. And you got to give them credit, because they make big bucks, and they also are generous with it often. So I don't have that issue with business or with money. So
I vote for Elizabeth to be the new spokesperson.
I would vote for Elizabeth to have all the money so she could give it. So the reason I got up here was to say the way I do it through my bank is my bank has a bill pay service. I'll bet your bank does too. And so for certain bills, it's really sweet just to sign it up here. And every month they just send the money. They let me know first, which is really good. That your money's coming out now, and then they send it. They mail it, for crying out loud. They put the stamp on it and mail it. You can't beat that. So I give my donation, and they mail it. They send a check, don't they, David?
Yeah.
You get a check.
Yeah.
It's an honest-to-goodness check. In an envelope with a stamp, or at least something. So please, this is important. It's important for us now. It's important for our children, our grandchildren. We're talking 7 generations, 14 generations. Let's let that happen. Let's let that happen. And it's going to have to happen through peace. We don't know exactly what that looks like, but we're trying. We're learning. And these programs that are starting, we just heard a little bit of it. They don't know yet what I have in mind. We could all get together and do our very best, and we could not be stopped. We could not be stopped by anybody. So I think I might just sit down now. I have one more thing. The reason I chose this organization.
By the way.
P.S.
I've acted in a lot of things, and I always have been, and it's always been things that leave life better. I know that there's unlimited potential in every single human being. That's my work, is to activate that potential. Okay. I chose Ashland Culture of Peace as my focus for this time in my life because of the sincerity of the people who are working here. I love working with them. And because they do not take political stands, because that's not the way I care to work. I would rather work to create a culture where people really talk to each other. I heard that recently at a skills building team, this statement came up, which just, I've spoken of it to several people in my circles. And they all have this, oh yeah. And the statement was this: if we're successful, then Ashland would be a place where everybody can talk to anybody about anything, anytime. Doesn't that just thrill me?
Yeah.
That's why I'm working with ACPC. Sign those cards and pass them in. I'll take the cards.
You just need to think another benefit of
I think it's a few
ACPC.
of the voices are wanting to be spoken.
Can I just make a quick point? So she just made me think of how what we do facilitates a bit of a backlash to the more like obsessive hand-holding world we're in now. It gives another avenue for us to stay connected because you really can't communicate by email as well as you can in person by a long shot, right?
Yeah.
So I think increasingly it's become more of an issue in the world that we need to keep our human connections alive, not our text messaging.
Okay, yes.
So I'm going to actually read a testimonial from someone that would rather have it spoken by me. This person is an amazing being. He's a little shy, and she's beautiful, and has an amazing heart, and these are her words. I have never participated in any political demonstration of any kind, and yet I felt the need to join the Women's March. It was impressive, inspiring, and incredibly energizing. Most importantly, it was a peaceful demonstration, and precisely because it was peaceful, it was effective. That led me to join Ashland's Culture of Peace Commission, a place where like-minded individuals come to seek and express a desire for peace in a place where we feel respected, safe, and free to share our views without any judgment. I believe that out of multiple views and ideas come great solutions. Peace instills and promotes growth. Join us, please. You just might find you. A you haven't met yet. I did. I look forward to seeing you there. I urge you to help the Ashland Culture of Peace Commission continue on its mission by making a generous donation. Thank you, and may peace be abundant in your life. Yeah.
So, you've done what you've done with the cards. Let's close the meeting. Hand those in as you go, or do with them as you wish. I don't know. Or read one second. But let's just do, let's do it first.
I don't know what person is actually speaking. Just say we're not going to
Sure. Of course.
Many of you know my wife probably better than me, or I know several of you from talking circles. Holly couldn't be here because she's with kind of her mom passed away earlier in the month of April, and she's back east dealing with that. We found Ashland 5 years ago now, about the same time, in traveling the country in RV, partially to look for a new community to live. And many of the things that have been talked about with regard to the, what does the culture of peace look like, we found in Ashland compared to many of the other towns around the country. When I say many other towns, we spent probably in a year in the RV, we stayed in about 100 different towns. So Ashland, and it was on the kind of the top of our list. We came back and looked at it once more, and then moved here a year ago in our RV, and then been here since. I've gotten to know the community from the in this community from the 11 Days of Peace, which was wonderful. I met one of Bob's friends, a dear friend, at biking one day. That's kind of my passion. And we chatted for 30 miles as we went to Jacksonville and back, and then had dinner with Bob. It was the first time I met him, and then Holly had already met him. My wife's a significant extrovert. She probably knows half of Ashland here. And more of an introvert, yet having lived with an extrovert for 41 years, it's easy to kind of pick up their traits. It's been a community I see this flourishing, and it's just absolutely a beautiful community. I think it's a place that, like your vision of moving it elsewhere is where it's at, and I am very much enthralled with this community. I love the talking circles. We've chatted, and other people, and those are just wonderful out of the experience of hearing these divergent opinions and beliefs and working through these issues. Thank you.
So we'll all stand. Let's come into one circle so we can all join hands. Just open up the circle. Make sure everyone's in. Come on, Bob. Thank you for videoing.
First smile.
Let's just take a look around at all the faces. Look into the eyes of some people you maybe haven't gazed with yet. And really feel the heart that's in this space. And we all created that together. Because what I found at ACPC was family, more family, and that is what we are, the human family right here. Let's just close our eyes for a moment. And take a breath. Peace we achieve when we do not expect anything from the world, but only give and give and give unconditionally what we have and what we are. May we be kind every day. May we feel compassion for ourselves and for every human being. May we be peace. One last breath, and send some peace around the room, hand to hand. Thank you all for coming and being a part of our family, and we'll look forward to seeing you.